The Music is Life podcast has our own merch now over on tpublic.com. Click the link below in the video description. Looking for some new threads? We got t-shirts, long sleeves, hoodies, crew neck sweatshirts, tank tops, baseball tees, and also clothes for kids and onesies for your little infant metalheads. Don't want clothes but love the Java? We got you covered with coffee mugs and travel mugs. Need protection for your electronics? We've also got phone and laptop cases. We've got everything you're looking for at the tpublic.com Music is Life podcast store. Use my link below for fast service. Thanks for your support. TerraNut is proud to offer you a natural nut bar chock full of healthy fats, minerals, and protein that meet your demands. Go to their website, www.terranut.com. You can order from them directly and they will ship it to you. Use my coupon code LOUMAVS and you will get a 25% discount on your first order. TerraNut Superfood Snacks, www.terranut.com. Don't forget to use coupon code LOUMAVS at checkout. Fuel your life.
Looking for some new podcasts to listen to? Well, look no further than the Ratsaw Review Network. Ratsaw Review is taking over the podcast world with plenty of shows to choose from within their network of entertaining programming, including the flagship show, Ratsaw Review, with Wayne Noon, Greg Noggle, and Lou Mavs, as well as occasional co-hosts Manny Mejias and James Lilquist. We also have the official Ratsaw Review spin-offs, such as Album vs. Album, Screams from the Grave, where we discuss beloved yet forgotten hard rock and metal albums of the past, and a King Diamond podcast called This Broadcast Belongs to Them. We've also got Old Man Metal's Musings, the Metal Thrashing Nerd podcast with Metal Thrashing Mike, the Timo Tolkki podcast featuring Stradivarius and Avalon founding member Timo Tolkki, the BS Sessions with Mark and Jerry, Just the Cheese Please, a podcast dedicated to cheesy films of the 1980s with Tara J and Adam, and the Music is Live podcast with Lou Mavs. The Ratsaw Review Network is your go-to one-stop shop for the best podcasts out there today. Go to ratsawreview.com for more info, and to find out where you can find, follow, subscribe, and comment on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and all streaming platforms. The Ratsaw Review Network. We're taking over.
Ladies and gentlemen, how do?
We are ready and waiting for you now. If it's a fight that you deceive, we've acquired our strength through pain. No more are we pathetic game. You are the reason why we claim that we've all become this way. And I regret this prison that I created for myself. Who can it be? Who makes us cry? Won't save us from ourselves. I close my eyes and then I pray that revenge can be as sweet as it sounds. We are the rebels that force from your hate as you play out. Someone want to fight with you, to argue to or make them yell. My heart still beats, my eyes still cry, and I can't forgive you for this.
Got really cool news that I can't wait to tell people. I'm interviewing Brian Tatler of Diamond Head today. If anyone understands what that means, it means that this is the guy that single-handedly started the American thrash metal movement with Am I Evil, which Metallica covered. Okay, and Diamond Head is celebrating 42 years of Lightning to the Nations. It's a landmark album in hard rock and metal. So, this is sick. I cannot wait to share this interview with people. I'm about to get on a call with him soon. I'm excited! Yeah!
It's time for Red Salad Review with your hosts, Wayne Noon, Greg Noggle, and Lou Mavs.
Welcome to Ratsaw Review. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I am interviewing one of the, as far as I'm concerned, if it wasn't for this gentleman, there would be no American thrash metal scene.
I don't know about that.
No. I'll take that to the bank. I am so proud to have on the show, celebrating 42 years of Lightning to the Nations, from Diamond Head, Mr. Brian Tatler. Sir, good evening to you. How are you?
Thank you very much, Lou. I'm well, thank you.
Excellent. So I know we only have you for a half hour of your time. Again, we're grateful for the time that we do have. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you the questions. By the way, you look great. Great to see you.
Do I don't think so, but thank you.
So 42 years of Lightning to the Nations. Congratulations are first and foremost in order. How does it hit you looking back on such a landmark album that has influenced countless bands over the course of 5 decades?
Well, it's great, of course. It's great to have the album out again. And, a nice remastered version with a nice cover. And Silver Lining have done a fabulous job of the packaging. But, when you make the record, you have no idea what if it's going to be liked or accepted, or if it's going to have any longevity at all. You're just making the best record you possibly can. I always think we were competing with the greatest bands of all time in the 70s. And so we were aiming very high to try and enter the realm of the Led Zeppelins and the Black Sabbaths and the Deep Purples. And we just wanted to, 4 young lads from Stourbridge in England trying to make our way into the world of rock and metal. And here we are, still talking about it 42 years later.
And we're all better off for it.
Yeah.
As a guitar player to another guitar player, I have to admit, your tone has been consistent and consistently good. Your usage of Gibsons and Marshalls have defined your sound, and I think you've also added Engel amps to your arsenal as well.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, okay.
I did use Engel for a while, and then I went... I've been using Cornford for a while, and I've bought a Kemper recently. So I've done 1 gig with it, and I'm gonna do some more. So I'm sort of moving over to the dark side with digital. But the Cornford were good as well. I can always go back to the Cornford. I've kept everything if it don't work out with me and the Kemper.
But you still use the Gibsons, though. That we could agree on.
Of course. Oh,
okay.
Of course. I couldn't work without either a Les Paul or a Flying V, really. That is fine. I've never been a Fender man.
I was not a Fender man until I started getting back pains playing Gibsons on stage for 3 hours twice a week.
Well, do a short set.
I was in a cover band for many years, so 3 hours and you better play Mustang Sally. So no, I was done with that. So I mod my Fender Strats, actually. I put humbucker pickups on them and Floyd Rose bridges, so I'm happy with them. Yeah, but you can never go wrong with a Gibson. Absolutely.
Totally. The first Fender Strat I bought, I butchered it and put a DiMarzio Super Distortion pickup in it.
That's what I did.
and then it got stolen, so I never saw it again. But really, once I bought the V in '79 and then a Les Paul in the '80s, I found my sound really more. The Gibson and the humbuckers and stuff, that's more me.
Definitely. Well, like I said, I love the fact that the sound has been consistent and consistently good. What I love about the current lineup of Diamond Head, again, consistency for the past 6 years, as a live band and in the recording studio with Carl Wilcox on drums, Rasmus Bon Anderson on vocals, and Andy Abby Aberley on guitar as well. There's one thing I want to confirm. I heard a rumor on an anonymous website, Wikipedia, that supposedly Paul Gaskin of Gaskin is the bassist.
He's not.
I want you to confirm here and now that is a dirty lie, please. If it's
no, he's not in Gaskin. He's not of the band Gaskin. His name's Paul Gaskin, and he lives not far from me. And he's only just joined the band. He's only done 4 gigs with us, but he'll be coming on this Saxon tour we're about to do. But he's nothing to do with Gaskin, the band. He's a local guy who he's played in some other bands, but nothing you'd have heard of. Yeah.
Thank you for confirming that. So it's Paul Gaskin, but not Paul Gaskin of Gaskin.
No, it's not Paul Gaskin from Gaskin, no.
Okay, so Gaskin fans, leave me alone. Now you know.
He's never been in a famous band, but he's now in Diamond Head, so I suppose you could class that. But he's very excited to be in Diamond Head. It's been something he'd been looking forward to for a long time, because we auditioned him a few years ago, but he didn't pass the audition, and I tried him again because I thought he had some merit, and he was better this time. I think he'd done his homework, and he got the gig.
Excellent. That's great. One of our co-hosts, Greg Noggle, is a huge Diamond Head fan, and Lighting to the Nations is actually his favorite album of all time. He called it pure lightning in a bottle, that truly captures the spirit and sound of heavy rock, heavy music in general.
Fantastic.
He knows that at the time of the MCA deal, I don't know if you're allowed to discuss this. If not, we'll drop it. But Borrowed Time was planned to be the big debut, and the original Lightning LP was, so to speak, a demo album.
Yes.
Was there ever a plan to re-release the original afterwards before Metal Blade did in 1987? Also, the sound changes slightly between the early recordings and Borrowed Time. Was this a natural progression for Diamond Head, or was it imposed by MCA?
No, it wasn't imposed by MCA. We did that album quite quickly. We did it in a week, and I think it was always sort of intended to either get a deal with it or or release it, ourselves or something like that. So the manager soon pressed up like 1,000 copies, and we sold them at gigs. So we made a little bit of cash to keep the band afloat, but we couldn't get a record deal with it, and that was really frustrating for us. So we carried on writing, and then by the time we signed and recorded with MCA, like 2 years later, I think our sound and style had changed a little bit, and I think we were constantly experimenting and looking for something successful, because, as you know, without money a band will fall apart. You can't possibly hire equipment and go and tour Europe without funds coming in. So we kept trying to write almost a hit record or something that would start selling. You hear stories about, Black Sabbath, Paranoid went in the charts at number 2 or whatever. And so you think, okay, if we can make a great album, we can, it'll fly up the charts and all that, and we'll all be happy till and it didn't quite work out like that for Diamond Head. But no, it wasn't really MCA. I think MCA would have liked us to have a hit single, because we wrote Call Me sort of after they said, we need a single. The first thing we're going to release is a single or an EP, which was called the Call Me 4 Cuts EP in possibly May 82. So we recorded that first, then we recorded Borrowed Time. But we didn't have a hit single either, so it was just constantly looking for something that was going to sell.
Well, it would have been great for Diamond Head to have had a hit single, but in hindsight's always the thing that people look to, and although that hit single may not have manifested, on the bright side, a long career did instead. So yeah, I think a longer career speaks more than just a hit single.
I agree. But, the band fell apart twice.
Yes.
And, it's only because of, my, what's the word? I just want to keep it going, because I love the band. I love the songs. I want to keep playing the guitar. I love playing guitar. The band's still going. And it just rolls forward year in, year out. So, members have come and gone along the way, but, I still love it. So yeah, there's been a long career, but there probably always would have been, because that's once upon a time, I probably decided that's what I want to do with my life. after becoming a car mechanic, when I left school, I decided I don't really like being a car mechanic. I want to be a guitarist. I want to be in a band, and so I just did everything I could to make that happen. And it's not been easy, as you can imagine.
Oh, yes, I know. And being the son of a late auto mechanic, I have respect for auto mechanics and guitar players. So all good.
Right. Not an easy gig.
One thing about the current lineup that I definitely want to put over, Rasmus has definitely done a great job of owning the entire discography as vocalist. And Carl Wilcox has become such a great public representative for Diamond Head, as I've seen him in many interviews and documentaries. One thing that many people misunderstand about bands, aside from the music itself, is that for full-time bands, they're business entities where friendships are secondary, with, many bands in the past being examples of that. In the case of Diamond Head, though, there seems to be a great deal of trust with the current lineup, where there's mutual respect and camaraderie, especially on stage. What would you say is the overall formula for success that you've had with this current lineup?
I think you're right about mutual respect. I think we all are hungry for it. We all are prepared to, sit in the van for 10 hours a day, and it's not an easy ride. And we've been doing it a long time. I've been playing since 76, 75. So a long time. I don't know what the formula is, other than you've got to get the right people in the band, and it helps if everybody pulls their weight, if everybody brings something to the table. And that seems to work well. It's not like it's all on one person's shoulders. If I had to do everything, I couldn't do everything. I'm not that kind of person. I'm better off doing what I do best, and then I leave a lot of stuff up to Carl. He doesn't, he acts as tour manager, and works out a lot of the bookings and the logistics of how are we going to get to this festival and things like that. And then Raz has taken over the role of the producer, and so he's heavily involved in any music production. Or with this, he remastered the album. He produced, mixed and mastered the last album, The Coffin Train, and The Lightning to the Nations. So he's very good like that. He's got good ears, and he's a talented boy, is Raz. So he takes on a lot of that I just couldn't do. So we work as a really good team.
It definitely shows. Greg also wanted me to mention that the current lineup is easily, in his opinion, the best or most in tune with each other since the original group. He may be in the minority, he states, but he genuinely enjoyed Canterbury, and the more progressive leaps in your playing on that album. With such a strong lineup, is there any chance of maybe exploring these different areas in a more heavy context for future Diamond Head albums?
I don't know. I think we're always, looking to move forward. We've got our eye on the past. We realise that the strengths of Diamond Head, and I do not want to leave that behind, because Diamond Head, we're lucky enough to have a style and a sound, and my playing is a certain way of playing, it's in the fingers, as they say. So we try to bring the best from what was great about Diamond Head in the early days and bring it forward into now. So, of course, production changes and amplifiers change, equipment changes. So it's a more modern sound, but hopefully still in the writing, it still sounds like Diamond Head, really. And I think a few times we've gone too far. We've experimented to the point where you probably got to turn around and come back a little bit, because you're just going down a blind alley. And it can be fun to try, but I think you can lose your core fan base if you stretch too far.
Understood. By the way, I believe every band should experiment if that's where they feel that they should go. So, there may have been albums of bands where I was like, I'm not too keen on this, but I love the band anyway. So let me see where their next album goes. So
Yeah.
I think that probably speaks for most fans of music.
I think if you're successful, it probably helps keep the band fresh. Like, for example, Rush, they kept experimenting, didn't they? But if you're not selling, millions of records, you run the risk of losing the fans that you've got. So it's a dangerous game, really, which is why a lot of bands play pretty safe and just stick to what they know and what they know will sell. So I think we experimented more in the Canterbury period than we would now.
All right. Well, for the actual 40th anniversary of Lightning, you did something special where you not just re-recorded the original album, you included 4 great covers: Metallica, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, and Judas Priest.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, the band did a great job making them sound like Diamond Head songs. Your solo and Immigrant song, I was like, jaw to the floor. Was so impressed with it. What was the impetus for you to decide on these 4 particular covers for the re-recording?
It was obvious we should do a Metallica song, and I wanted to do one off the first album because they only covered Diamond Head songs off our first album, Right Into the Nation. So I thought, I want to do one off Kill 'Em All, and I thought No Remorse had a bit of Diamond Head to it, a bit of Diamond Head DNA in it a little bit. I mean, I think Seek and Destroy does as well, but it's so famous and they could play that every night. And I didn't want to do it. It was slightly too obvious, so I thought No Remorse. And once we started rehearsing it sounded great, so that became the one. Then Sinner is a song that I've always admired. I've been listening to that song ever since it came out, and I've always fancied writing something a bit like Sinner, and I've probably stolen a few arrangement ideas from it over the years. So that felt very natural to do that one. The same with Immigrant Song. I've aspired to write a song as great as the Immigrant Song with the F sharp. That little thing. I've probably tried to rewrite Immigrant Song several times, and once you've got a singer in the band like Rasmus who can actually handle a song by Robert Plant or
he has an incredible high
Rob
range.
Halford. I mean, there's some incredible vocalists, but he didn't bat an eye. He didn't shy away from the ideas. He didn't say, "Oh no, that's not in my range" or something like that. No, he was game for the opportunity, and it didn't worry him at all. And the same with Rat Bat Blue. Again, it's just a song I really liked. I didn't want to do something too obvious. I didn't want to do Highway Star or something like
I'm glad it wasn't Smoke on the Water because I'm sick of that song.
And I like that album.
No, I love Machine Head, but I mean, fan to fan, my favorite Deep Purple album was Burn.
Yeah, look, Burn as well. I think my favourite is Machine Head. I know every song backwards, but I didn't want to do anything off Machine Head. I wanted to give some love to a bit more of a deeper cut. And I always thought that was a great riff. Blackmore.
I agree.
Blackmore. So
Blackmore is really the only reason why I could ever justify playing Strats. So
yeah. We wanted to do a Black Sabbath song, but we couldn't quite get the sound. It didn't quite work, and we didn't have a lot of time to keep trying. We tried a couple, and then we moved on. We thought we'd do it another time.
Understood. What I love about your playing as a guitarist is that it strikes an emotion that adds to the song, and it doesn't overkill the listener with technical ability to the point where they're overwhelmed and they can't listen to the song. One thing I don't know if you've ever been asked, Brian, after being an influence for so many guitarists out there, and I know we mentioned Black Sabbath before, and you mentioned Judas Priest and Deep Purple, but who were single-handedly the guitarists or bands that you would say directly influenced you to be the songwriter and guitarist that you've become?
First of all, it would have been Deep Purple with Blackmore, because I'm a big Blackmore fan. I wanted to play Highway Star, and it's one of the main reasons I started practicing more, because I just thought if I'm going to be able to play like that, I'm going to have to get serious. I'm going to have to do the homework, do the legwork. Songs like probably Black Sabbath and probably Zeppelin. And then other bands crept in, as the 70s moved on. We had AC/DC and then Van Halen and UFO, Montrose. There's so many awesome bands in the 70s, which I think is why Diamond Head tried so hard to be a great band, because we felt the competition was incredible, So.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what me as a fan, what I loved about Lightning to the Nations is that I could put it up there with UFO's best work with Schenker, or I could put it up there with the classic 70s British hard rock and metal, which in all honesty is my favorite era of music. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
so I think that's just why it resonated with me so much.
Yes.
Speaking of Lightning first timers, my first time that I discovered it when it became available for me to purchase in the States was when Metal Blade re-released it along with the Diamond Lights EP together as Diamond Nights. This was back in 2000.
Yeah.
I have to ask, since Lightning has been re-released so many times, which would you say was your favorite artwork for repackaging?
I like the new one. I like this one.
I like that too. That's a good
yeah,
good touch.
The best for me. I mean, I've got all those other versions of, like you said, the Metal Blade version. There's all kinds of labels have put it out. Sanctuary put it out, and there's a few others. But very often I wouldn't be involved in the artwork. It would somebody just do it, and then I'd get sent a copy and think, oh. Okay, and that'd be it. That'd be the first time I'd see it. Even that, I've even bought copies of Diamond Head albums from like record fairs where I'd just find it in the rack and I'd think, oh, what's that? I've never seen that before, and it'd be like €10. I'll just buy it to keep in my collection of records. But with this one, I was heavily involved, and I think the artwork's great, and I think they've done a fabulous job with the packaging. So
sick.
I'm really pleased with this one.
Was the white cover always the original idea, or
no? We had a cover idea, but I think at the time it was just like, let's just press 1,000 copies in a plain white sleeve. This wasn't even my idea. Well, it wasn't Sean's idea. It wasn't my idea. It was the manager's idea, Reg. I think just for cheapness and to save a lot of artwork costs and ideas getting, I don't like that cover and I don't like this. It was just right. We'll just do 1,000 white label copies and sell them at gigs. I mean, he took some to record labels and all that, but we sold all 1,000 copies. We did an advert in Sounds, which was a music paper at the time, and we sold them through Sounds. Sold all the copies. Then we pressed up another 1,000 copies, but this time it had the information on the label that it printed on, like the song titles and that. But it still didn't have any artwork, and so it's desperately been crying out for good artwork, I feel, over the years.
No. All right. Well, just a couple more questions because I know you got to jump on another call. So, Am I Evil, the song itself, as I mentioned before, it launched a revolution in the United States when a certain band from San Francisco covered it and influenced a generation of musicians with it. I hope that band Metallica finds great success after 40 years. I'm just kidding, but I'm just being cheeky there. But in all honesty, when you think about the impact that one song from this album made, how does it make you feel?
Well, I'm very proud. Obviously, it's helped keep me going financially, but also I think it's given Diamond Head a lot of credibility. It's given us our big song, and I think every band needs their their song. There's a lot of times if you mention Diamond Head, they'll say, "Oh, am I evil?" And that's it. That's all they know. So I always think that is our song. I'm eternally grateful to Metallica and any other bands who've been influenced by us. But it's all worked out nicely in a roundabout way, as in the long run. Yeah.
I have to admit, as much as I love The Prince, I love Helpless, and I love Am I Evil, my favorite Diamond Head song from that era, from the Lighting to the Nations and the Diamond Nights CP, is the song itself, Diamond Nights. I actually, when I first heard that, I loved it because it was so melodic and catchy, and it hit you. Yeah. And, it struck an emotional chord for me.
Right.
I hope if you ever... I hope if you ever
don't play it very often, but it's nice to hear that you appreciate that one, because it gets left behind a little bit. That we don't play it live, but great vocal. I always thought Sean's vocal was good on that EP with "We Won't Be Back" and "I Don't God."
Yeah, I mean, I think it speaks to the UFO fan in me as well. Like like I said, I hold it up to that standard. So good on you for that. Which Diamond Head record would you say holds up with Lightning in terms of quality that you think music fans that have not been converted, not that we're preaching to the choir, but aren't aware of it, would appreciate as much as Lightning? Which of the Diamond Head discography?
I don't know. I mean, I like the Coffin Train. I think that's definitely worth listening to if you haven't listened to that one. But there's something sort of about Lightning. It's become a kind of classic, and it's become a very influential album. So it's always going to be hard to top that. If you come to Diamond Head fresh for the first time. But yeah, the Coffin Train, I would say, would be my number two. I still occasionally listen to Death and Progress, but yeah.
I would have to say the 2016 album, the self-titled. Yeah. I hold that up with Lightning. I love that. Got some
great songs on it. Yes, I do agree. I'm not mad on the production, but song-wise, there's a lot of good stuff on that. Yeah.
Okay, and final question: if people want to know more about Diamond Head, where can they find you on the internet?
The website diamondheadofficial.com, and then of course Facebook and Instagram and all that, Twitter. It's there in the social media world. I don't think we've done TikTok yet. I hear about TikTok, but I know nothing about it.
Stay far away from it.
Somebody's bound to suggest that at some point.
It's taxing, but regardless, Mr. Brian Tatler, Diamond Head, Lighting to the Nations 42nd anniversary reissue available soon. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak with you.
Welcome. I've enjoyed talking. Thank you for having me.
Same here. RatSourReview.com, DiamondHeadOfficial.com. Cheers. Oh, okay.
But wait, there's more!
I like the name of the show, Rat Salad. I mean, after the Black Sabbath song of Paranoid, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That was Wayne's
Yeah.
genius, I guess. He came up with that, and Sabbath is my favorite group, so I didn't have any objections.
I do love Sabbath. I saw Sabbath first in 1974. We're on the Sabbath Bloody Sabbath tour, so I was very lucky. Yeah, because I had an older brother, you see, who was able to take me to gigs, and otherwise, I wouldn't have gone. And he really got me started, in the whole thing. So, God bless him.
I hear you. Funny you mentioned that. I too had older brothers that got me into that music as well. I'll be 42 next month. My eldest brother will be 57, and I became a Black Sabbath fan because of him. He took me to my first concert in 1999 when I was 18, and that was Sabbath Reunited. So for both of us, it was a huge treat.
Yes. Yeah, it really helps to have an older brother.
It definitely does, especially
you get the
when
benefit of their taste.
Especially when they make you want to pick up an instrument.
Okay, well, exactly. That's exactly what happened to me.
Very cool.
It took me to my first gig, got me started on the guitar, and got me into bands like Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin.
Awesome. Awesome. This is going to be a great interview.